Hey guys, this is Nathan and welcome back to Satisfactory. Hope you guys are doing good today. I am doing great. So in the last episode we made it to steel, and so yes, we have two foundries making steel just as fast as they can. Now I did overclock both of these minor Mark 1s to be putting out 60 units per minute, but we are limited a little bit by our coal because part of this 120 line of coal is going to fuel our tractor that's bringing iron for the rest of this stuff. But one thing that I did not do was to set up for processing that steel. So I do have one constructor here set up for processing beams and one for pipes, and I've overclocked this one to get it to use 90 per minute. And so between the 90 per minute and this one and the 30 per minute over there, we are using every bit of the output of these two foundries. And we have gotten quite a few steel beams and quite a few pipes. And actually it looks like our pipes are full. So yes, we are getting all of that going. But I did some things between episodes. And so if we look off in this direction, we will see a little bit of something peeking out from behind the billowing smoke from our smelters. So yes, I did a thing. So let's go over and take a look at that, shall we? So obviously this is not going to cut it. So I wanted to do a little bit of experimentation with some building, and I actually think I'm kind of happy with this. So this factory is going to be for copper, and I have to say I rather much like it. Also, I changed the color of the standard color swatch to be a nice dark red with black. I like it. But so I did quite a bit of stuff with depth and color, things like that. So we've got red, white, and black in the build. We have this little area here that is mostly glass and juts out. And you can see there's a couple of storage containers in there. So that's where we will go if we need to go and pick up some items. Over here we have the smelter portion. And this smelter portion, I actually think this is kind of cool. The smelters are just clipping through the roof. So when the smelters turn on, there will be smoke belching out of the top of this portion of the building. Now the rest of it is going to be where all the constructors are. And I have set up constructors on the first working floor. The other two floors are empty, and you can see there are staircases inside. So let's go inside and have a look around. So fairly plain room here. You know, I think we need to have another container over here because, well, we're going to be having for sure copper sheets, wire, and cable coming out of here. And so we are going to need at least one more storage container for that. But if we pop in here, so this is going to be the logistics area. I have hooked up the feed system for the smelters, as well as the system to take all that stuff away. And once it gets down here to this end, I don't have anything hooked up yet. So we will be trying to get to that. I do want this back wall here, so I've made that back wall solid all the way up, and I want that to be where our lifts are set up. And then in these construction floors, rather than coming up through the floor like we did on the smelters, we are going to run all of the conveyors overhead. So yeah, I think that'll be kind of neat. Now I have only done the front. The back has not been done with the detailing, but I think it's coming together pretty good. Another thing that is really awesome, I think, is the concrete pillars here kind of look like they're holding up the floor. So neat little details. I really like it. So yeah, it looks cool. We can look out here, just see the top of the smelters. Oh, and it looks like I forgot to put a wall back in. And there's also some other things that I still need to do, like these didn't connect all the way down. You know, there's a lot of little details that I've got to fix. Now, another thing, I am running the wall outlets on top of a beam that runs across the room to power the smelters. Now, I haven't quite decided yet what I'm going to do as far as the constructors are concerned for powering. At the moment, I may just hook them up and worry about that later. But I will say I am really kind of looking forward to turning this thing on. So we do have, well, it's back behind here, we can't see it, a normal copper node. That is all hooked up to the smelters. Of course, that will only be producing 60 copper ore per minute right now. And so, you know, that is only going to feed a couple of our smelters, but I think I want to hook this up. So I have not started this up at all. We do have one double wall outlet on the side of the building that we will use to connect this to our power supply. Now, I'm really afraid to see what this is going to do. Yes, our maximum consumption is now above what and even without this, our maximum consumption was above the output of our coal generators, so we're definitely going to have to be looking at getting more there. But if we go around the back side of this, we will see the copper should be being mined here out of this. And yep, we are getting that. And you know what? We might do this. Let's go ahead and throw those two in there. That will max out the belt and get us as much copper as we can out of there. Now, another thing, the floor does overhang here, so we do have this. And I'm not entirely sure what those conveyor holes are for. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. But now we should be getting some copper ore into the smelters, and we should, yes. Oh, that is great. We got to get up on top of something. Let's just go ahead and get ourselves a, what are these things called? Organization, a lookout tower. We'll just set down a lookout tower here, climb up on top of this, because a lot of the times we are going to be seeing these buildings from slightly higher up. And so, yes, it kind of looks, those little bits that are protruding through the roof kind of look like they could be little bits of a smokestack. And then when the smelter turns on, there's smoke coming out of that basic area. Now, if we wanted to, I suppose we could put like a beam connector or something where the smoke comes out. That might be kind of cool. So, yeah, just a few little things. Now, I am debating whether I want to put the concrete pillars around the top of the smelter building. I don't know, and I want you guys to give your input on that. So let me know yes or no on the concrete pillars around the smelter portion. But overall, I am really liking the look of this building. So I guess the next thing to do is to start hooking up all of the constructors. Obviously, we need to make more constructors in the upper floors, so there's a lot of stuff to do. Now, I was only able to fit 14 smelters into this, and we can only fit 9 constructors per floor. So this is not going to be a huge factory. It is going to be something that we can use here early on, and later on, it's just kind of going to be a supplemental thing, I guess. It may be shut down later, but I don't think I'm going to tear it down because this is the first proper build of the map. So, I'm going to get to work on hooking up all the constructors, getting all of the conveyors run, try to figure out how I'm going to get that third storage container in there and all of that. And I will be back in just a little bit. Even if it's coming slow, that is a beautiful sight. Of course, I just hooked up the copper sheets, so it is clearing out the backlog right now. But we have wire, we have cable, and we have sheets running down. Now, I did rearrange everything here. I also moved the sheets off of this floor. So this is the first production floor, and we are making wire here. Now, I have changed it to be just 8 constructors per floor instead of 9. I don't know why. I was thinking I needed 9. Weird number. But then that wire comes up here. We can see it coming up here. So actually, if we go down below and look at the logistics on this. So all of the wire feeds around here and goes into a splitter. Now, half of it runs down this belt and splits down into the storage container. Now, eventually that will fill up, and every bit of the wire will go up into the cable area. And so the rest of it goes up into the cable area, and we won't have to worry about it. For a second, those conveyors didn't look like they were parallel, but they are. Since this one slopes down, it looked weird. But anyway, so when we go up to the next floor, then we have an exact duplication of the constructor stuff, with the exception of these guys are making cable. So our wire comes up here, comes across, gets put into the splitter array. Yes, I know, manifold versus load balancers. I don't even want to think about it. As far as I'm concerned, every bit of my input is being used. I don't care. As the belt speed increases, machine efficiency will increase. It's not like we waste power when we're not using the equipment. It doesn't really matter. But anyway you look at it, we're coming up here, we're turning some of the wire into cable. That cable is then coming back out, running down this conveyor, and then being sent down to the storeroom. And then finally, we can see in the back of the room, if we can find it here, right there, is a line of copper ingots going up to the sheets. Now, obviously, I've got some issues with my copper supply, and so I've got to get that figured out. But that comes up here, comes across, goes into the splitter array, goes into another set of 8 constructors, just like the ones down below, with, again, the exception of making copper sheets. Then we gather it all up, it comes down this belt and goes down. And so we have, when we get down to the first production floor, we have all 3 conveyor lifts running side by side, which I like. I think that's pretty cool. It'll be even better when we get better conveyor lifts. Then if we go down below, we have the wire coming down into this storage container, the cable coming down into this one, and then the sheets go around here into that one. So that does take care of all of the copper things that we have available at the moment. We've gotten a fair amount of the wire already. We're starting to get a little bit of the cable, and we've gotten a fair amount of the sheets, and that's really only because we had the sheets set up to begin with. So yeah, things are looking really good here. Now, like I said, do need to try to figure out what is going on with our copper supply. So we are not running full speed on this, and we sure should be. So let's figure out why that is. So coming through here, everything is going good. Ah, I see. Okay, so if we split that and go there, now we won't have any breaks in our copper supply. So we should see an increase in copper ingots. Now, I am just pulling one side and then the other side. So we can have a maximum of 210 ingots coming out per side, unless we start doing some overclocking. But at the moment, I'm not overly concerned about that. Now, I did set up a storage container out here that I was throwing copper in from one of our other mines, and that's why this was changed. Totally forgot about that. So we'll just kind of pull some of that stuff down. I will say I really like how open the logistics floor is. Makes it really easy to be able to track where problems are. I don't like having a convoluted mess that I can't figure out. So yeah, that should help. If we go up above, we might see an increase. So we should be able to see here. Yeah, so it does kind of look like we're getting more ingots there now. And if we come over here, yes, we're definitely getting more ingots, which means we're going to be getting a lot more things coming out of our fabricators? Constructors. And so, yes, that is going to be filling up our storage containers in no time. So, we're going to leave this alone at this point. This factory is basically complete. Gonna wait to see what you guys think of putting the extra bits of the concrete pillars around the top of the building. But I did get the backside done, so this is all complete now, and yeah, I think at this point we are just kind of gonna go on to other things. So I think the next thing that we need to look at is some of the stuff in the hub, because, you know, we need to keep upgrading. So let's see what we've got next. So we are completely done with Tier 3. Very nice. So, you know, any one of these would be really nice. I would love to be able to get the Logistics Mark III. But in order for those... No, those do take steel beams. Let's go for it. Let's get the Logistics Mark III. So we need some concrete. So if we run over here... Ooh, concrete is completely full. Well, let's go ahead and grab some of that. I am kind of enjoying the fact that we have a use for the silica when we're not building with it, and we don't just have to sink it. And it also looks like we have a full container of smart plating. I am kind of dumbfounded. Now, the big thing with getting the Logistics Mark III is it is going to allow us to start really pushing future factories. So, I mean, like right now out of this truck station, we are limited to 120 items per belt. That doesn't go very far when we've got to do, you know, some of the stuff that we have to do. So it'll be really nice to have that extra. So we'll grab a whole bunch of these. We will be updating a whole bunch of the conveyors inside of our copper factory that we just finished in just a moment. So let's go ahead and get down here. I need to change save frequency. That is going to drive me nuts if I don't. Whee! I thought I made it. Oh God, I love it. Alright, well, we should have everything now. So let's go ahead and get our Logistics Mark III. Alright, concrete, steel beams, steel pipes. There we go.
Milestone.
Oh, shut up, Ada. Alright, so the next thing, I do think we are going to want to go to advanced steel production. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to gather up the supplies for this. And I'll wait for the pod to come back. In the meantime, I will update some of our conveyors. Because, I mean, literally, all that it takes now is steel beams, and we can update them. So, I am going to be going around updating the conveyors in here, and the lifts, and all of that need to be updated. And I will be back in a moment. So, I have upgraded the conveyors and lifts in the copper factory. I also did the same for the conveyors coming from the coal mines, and I did overclock those coal mines just ever so slightly to make sure that we were getting enough to keep our power plants loaded and to keep our steel works up and running. So yeah, but I think we need to get this advanced steel so that we can continue onward. So we need 200 steel pipes, 200 wires. No, 1,500 wires. I'm sorry. 200... Oh, I didn't grab enough rotors. Well, that's fine. So, all that we need to do to get some rotors is come over here. So, it looks like we need 37 of... No, not smart plating. We want the rotors. Go ahead and drop that back in there. We're going to have to sink some of the smart plating here in just a little bit. Well, that was dumb of me. I thought that was wire for some reason. But there we go. Advanced steel. And you know what, Ada? Yeah, we know. So, that gave us some good stuff, let me tell you. So that gave us the Miner Mark II, which is going to be extraordinarily important, especially now that we have upgraded our copper factory, the encased industrial beams, which are exceptionally good for points, the stators, the motors, automated wiring, and heavy modular frames. Yeah, heavy modular frames. Oh god, not those things. So, yeah, next up we have the hypertubes, which we're going to have to make some of those encased industrial beams first. And then we have the blueprints, which, in all actuality, we could do the blueprints now, and I think I might. So let's go ahead and select the blueprints, and all that we need to do is get 100 modular frames, which we have tons of those. Those are modular frames, right? Not the heavy modular frames. Active milestone. Yeah. Can it? Yeah, those are just modular frames. So we actually have almost a full container of modular frames up here. So I'm going to grab those. Going to start getting ready for what I intend to do. And we're going to be waiting for the pod to get back. Alright, so let's go ahead and get everything sent off here for our blueprints. We need a little more concrete. Darn it. I am just not doing good at making sure that I actually have everything. But I am looking at everything that's going on here. We are going to be doing a lot of building. So, what are we waiting for? Oh no! Modular frames. But I have upgraded the copper miner to a Miner Mark II now, and I've overclocked it to 270 per minute. So it is literally pumping out as much as our current conveyor system can handle. So yeah, we are getting some major copper production now. So we will take a look at that here in just a moment. Grab those. And that's where the other 10 modular frames went. But so, a little bit of damage. Whatever. But let's go ahead and get these last little bit in there. And off we go. Blueprints! That is great. Is Ada really not going to say anything this time? Wow. Okay. But yeah, so we have a Miner Mark II overclocked to 270 per minute out of here. So I didn't look at how much power this is consuming, but I'm sure that it's quite a bit. So this thing is consuming 35.1 megawatts. That's quite a bit. But we are literally pumping out concrete as fast as we can. The copper, as fast as we can. So let's see now, what is that? Wow, we are full on some of this stuff already. But so we should see massive amounts of copper ingots flying by here. So let's take a look at that. If we can get up here. Can I please get up? Thank you. But yeah, look at all those copper ingots flying by. So that is going out and filling up all of our constructors. And our constructors have the Mark III belts drawing away from them. So yeah, we are getting about as much as we can. Now, we still are not quite feeding all of our smelters at maximum capacity, but we're coming close. But yes, we have the blueprints now. So let's take a look at what we added with that. So I believe that, yeah. So the blueprint designer, and this thing is rather large. We do need some cables for this. So, hey, guess what? We have cables. We have tons of cables. So let's go ahead and grab some cables. And the blueprint designer. So I'm just going to set this here for now. But what we can do on this thing, from what I understand, is we can just start setting up stuff. So like if we were to say, put, I don't know, let's say we put a constructor with some conveyor lifts on it on both sides, and who knows what else. But what we can do then with that, I believe we can save this thing. That's just storage box. Okay, we need to be here. So here's the blueprint thing. So we can give this a name, and we'd say something like, I don't know, constructor. And we don't really need to add a description right now, but we can set an icon even. So say we set it as a constructor, and it's going to say what the cost of that blueprint is, and everything is good. So then we can save the blueprint. We can clear the designer. Now everything's gone. We can load the blueprint of the constructor, and everything shows back up. We can edit that afterwards. Very nice. I am really happy about this. Now, okay, so yes, all of the stuff that we have on the constructor shows up in this storage box. Very nice. But then what we can do now with our construction, we can now blueprints. We can select that, and we can place this multiple times in the world. Now, one thing that I have seen from other people talking about this is these do not snap to each other. So you do have to, it kind of, it at least gives snap lines. But so we can place these down repeatedly, and we get the exact same thing over and over and over. The only problem is make sure that you do set your blueprints in the right spot, because having to deconstruct them, especially complex blueprints, takes a lot of time. Yes, time. That's always a great thing. But so I think at this point, we're going to start deconstructing the great majority of this stuff. We'll have tons of storage, personal storage boxes to hold all of this stuff. But we are going to basically be shutting all of this down so that we can build new factories for all of this stuff. Now, I did do a bunch of constructing of the encased industrial beams by hand, and so I think we can possibly even get our hypertubes here. So the only thing that we need for that is some copper sheets, and we've got plenty of copper sheets. So if we run over here to our copper factory, grab those sheets, we can even get our hypertubes yet. So there we go. There's a couple hundred of those. And yes, that's amazing. We are going to have every bit of Tier 4 done now. That is great. So let's go ahead and drop in all of this stuff. And steel pipes. Oh, it is going to be so nice once we have a dedicated storage room, and we put the hub next to the storage so that we don't have to go chasing around the base to get items. That is going to be so nice. But yes, like I say, we are going to be basically pulling down the great majority of the base. You know, obviously we're not going to be pulling down the copper factory because that is now complete. But we're going to be pulling down pretty much everything else. You know, the copper factory we're going to leave. We're going to leave our power supply. But most of the rest of this is going to get pulled down. And I'm going to start building new factories. And with the hypertubes, it's going to be really nice to be able to get back and forth to stuff as well. So there we go. Hypertubes. Yes. Whatever. So hypertubes, very nice little thing. So if we go to our transportation, we now have a whole bunch of stuff for hypertubes. So if we put down, say, a hypertube entrance, and yeah, double click. And then we do our hypertube itself between them. And then we can put the entrances on both ends. Connect up some power. We need a power pole. And we're missing wire. Really? Well, we should have plenty of wire over here. I've already started pulling down some of the copper stuff. Got to use up all of this stuff that's out here. But, yeah, this will greatly up our speed to be able to move around. So we'll drop this here and drop this here. And of course, yes, I do know how to make the accelerators and everything, but we can just fly through that, and it's really nice. So, yeah, gotta be careful because it will just pull you through. But there we go. Hypertubes, steel, advanced steel, minor Mark II, Mark III conveyor belts and lifts. This has been an impressive day. We got our copper factory. We are doing great. So I think that is going to be it. So I'm going to say thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to give a thumbs up. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. If you have any thoughts about what I've been working on, anything that I could work on, anything to improve efficiency, anything like that, or you just want to say hi, go ahead and leave that down in the comments, and I will see you next time. Bye.